Hi and welcome to the Market Alert for Tuesday, the 6th of October 2020. So stocks and gold jump, bonds and the dollar dump as election fears fade. And that's probably because Donald has returned to the White House and implores Americans not to let COVID-19 dominate your life, which is something that personally I've done for the last 8 months or whatever. But I must say that it is all starting to feel like the twilight zone. Here we've got the fear-mongering and project fear on one side, catch this, or just rub against somebody, or brush against somebody, and, that's it next week, you're exiting stage left. It's all very, very bizarre, frankly. Again, it's, I've had a cold longer than he's had COVID. After 3 nights of COVID treatment, and he's back at work. Honestly, I just find this whole thing now. I mean, if I hadn't got the knowledge and the research levels of why this is happening or being used as a smokescreen because of the collapsing financial system and also the World Economic Forum to destroy the global economy so they can reset not only the financial system but our lives, then it makes perfect sense. Because I can tell you now, there is absolutely no way that COVID would be dominating and changing our lives from what we had prior to March if there was no global debt, interest rates were around 10%, and there were trade surpluses and also government surpluses as well. This is purely being used as a smokescreen. And we saw this back in March with the printing of the $4 trillion by the Fed on top of the 2.2 trillion stimulus, which I've spoken many times about in this market alert. So the whole thing is just bizarre, frankly, now. It really is. We have entered the twilight zone. There's no doubts about that at all. For me, all very odd. The rules are odd. Everything's odd. I mean, you only have to have a modicum of a brain cell to realise this when you see draconian measures of, the pub shut at 10. That's because, Covey's got a watch. He knows that 1 second past 10 he's coming out. I mean, this is just bonkers stuff now. Or unless it's just me, and I can't see it, but bizarre. I find the whole thing bizarre. So, you have to let me know if it's just me. But I find the whole thing fairly, very, very odd. Anyway, let's have a look at yesterday's trade. I was expecting a rally overnight, obviously, with Trump being released, but that hasn't been the case. So let's have a quick look at yesterday's chart first. We can see that after recording the market alert, the futures market opened and it traded down to the high and surprise, surprise, found support. Very important level. We can see the buying at this level. Market comes down and does a retest of this, about an 89% fib retracement, and then prices start to move higher. I'm going to fast forward through these trades this morning. You see the market taking off to the upside. No surprise there, as Trump is making his recovery and after his drive-by on the Sunday afternoon as well. So prices start to run out of steam. You can see that this volume is the same as the previous bar, but the range is narrower. Price is also coming off the high. So there's some selling in the top of this price bar. And then we get this one here as well, where we see further selling coming into the market as well. So the up move is stopped by the selling there, and then prices trade sideways to lower. They try to bring prices back here, but now we're below the 5-bar moving average, and then prices head down to the R1, and there we see the selling coming in, and then it's through the 20-bar and the 200 MA as well, as prices give up the initial move straight back to where they started there. So a bit of weakness around, and then prices attempt to come back, and then the buy signal is let me just come back. The buy signal is taken out. Let me just see if I can get this in slow motion. Just bring it back, and you'll see there price is coming back and taking out the stop, which cancels the order. The market is finding support at the 200 MA, very important. And then as we move forward, we get a sell signal. And I was late to the party. You'll see the ticket come up there, not even in the trade. And then prices start to move back to the upside. and immediately taken out at the R1. No new buying, no reversal signal, and then we get another chance to go short, and then as soon as we get to 20 plus points, stop has been moved to break even, removed off the chart. And where are we? We're at the high, and you can't see it on here, but if you just cast your mind back for a couple of minutes, remember the high was really important. We saw the buying come in here when the futures sold off down to this level earlier on in the session, and at this point, whoops, I've just come back, you'll see me remove the trade off the table here. Let me just make a few adjustments. Right, so you'll see there, taking the trade off, we're at the high, making up the loss from the previous trade, and then it's just a matter of waiting to see what happens. And again, you can see there's your green bar there as the shorts also take out, come out of the market taking their profits. There's an increase in volume here, significant as well compared to the other bar at the 200 MA as well. But prices find resistance there and then start to trade sideways. So I'm going to fast forward now through as prices come back down to the high, and you can see how this is being used as a major support. They don't want the market below the high. Came back up to the 200 MA and then found resistance there as well. And then all of a sudden prices break out to the upside, and they've got resistance to the left, and we've got the R1 up here as well before the BRN and the 200 MA, which I nearly missed there, which had been a resistance. And what I did here is the market came off this high of this bar and closing below the 200 MA. It was a decision, do I take the money or just move the stop to break even? A bit of a, as a friend calls, a suicide stop loss there, because it may take the trade out. But what was interesting here is how the market held at this level as well. The volume was more or less 80% of the previous bar and hadn't sold off, which was encouraging at this point. And then prices struggle with the 200 MA. We then get the up thrust there as well, so we're getting further potential weakness. And what I do here is just drawing in these lines here so I can see what the market's going to do, if it's going to react to these, if they're going to hold and send the market to the downside. So prices then try to move to the upside, they go through, but it is short-lived as prices then start to trade sideways. And as they come back towards the 200 MA there, I decide to collect the money, having had the one losing trade, the profit on the second one, and a small profit on this one. And I'm going to fast forward through because we then no more signals in the morning. In the afternoon, the market had been trading in a very, very narrow range. This is really narrow. It's about 25 points. Very, very quiet Monday afternoon as the market opened. Again, an interesting one here. See the buying on the 200 MA, and then prices moving higher. And then as soon as we get to here, we've got the selling to the BRN there, and then they retest at the 20 bar. See them trying to move prices higher. So we're just going to fast forward through to the news. There are no signals. You can see the potential weakness coming in prior to the news, back to the 20 bar moving average. And then we get the news, which you'll see in just a second. Prices come all the way back to where they started for the afternoon. And let's see if we've got this on here. Let me just forward this. There we go. So we had the ISM manufacturing PMI 57.8, forecast at 56. Again, you can't make this nonsense up, but that's what it was. So it was good news, but the market just remained sideways to higher them, just working its way back up to a double top. And just a slow grind that kept coming back to the 20 bar moving average and then bouncing off it each time. So let's have a look and see what the markets have done overnight as Trump has been released from hospital. Well, it's done absolutely nothing. And again, I think there's probably some sort of disbelief by the masses. Can't work out now what's going on because we're told of this disease that as a doctor who was before a parliamentary committee the other day said this is a disease that is so bad that you have to have a test to find out whether you've got it or have had it, which resonated somewhat with me, I must admit. And I thought, well, that's true, isn't it? I mean, wow. So anyway, let's not go down that route. So we can see that the whole thing's just bizarre, and we've got the market trading up to the 89%, and overnight, no real reaction at all, unless this is early last night. I think this was the case, wasn't it? If I was out and about at the time, and I do recall somebody saying that Trump had had left hospital, and that may be why we're seeing that there. So anyway, the market's reaction from his release now is prices are below the 200 MA, but above the DP, and trading sideways, very narrow range as well. So let's have a look at the Dow, see its reaction, and more or less the same, stuck at 62% from this high to this low. So again, not a lot there. Just have a look at the 5-minute chart. Let's have a look at last night. So there's the news. Then he was released from hospital. Quick look at the implied volatilities down at the low, still above the 200 MA though for the implied volatility. And if we look at the color coded one, we're back to amber, so we've still got some potential for the upside. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if it's not a rally in the stock market up to the US election, to be honest with you. News today, the criminal's out twice. She's speaking at 9:35 and at 2 p.m. That's Christine Lagarde, who was charged a few years ago for fraud. Great, isn't it? Running the International Mafia Fund, the IMF, and is now running the ECB. You can't make this stuff up, can you? You really can't. And then Powell's out at 3:40 as well. Okay, that will do it for this episode of The Twilight Zone. And let's see what happens today. As ever, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.